Hello guys and welcome back. In this video we'll be coding our second project, the file Encryptor. I'm going to open the containing folder and let's take a look at what all we have. We essentially just have the file itself and we have a PNG image. I'm going to delete this because I was just testing it out. So this is all we need for now and later we can build upon this. So we'll be using OpenCV. We saw all the basic functions in the previous video. In this video, we'll actually be implementing them. We're using Pickle, we're using load and down. This is to encrypt the file in binary form. We will be using Decryptor. We already saw what Decryptor is, and we'll be using something called glob, and you'll see why in just a few moments. Now, let's get done with all the basics, which is creating the window. So window equals tk window dot main loop, and in this image in this image encryptor we need two buttons, one to encrypt it and one to decrypt it, and then we're going to have a combo box to show all the files that are available. So let's start coding all the basic UI elements. First off is the button, but before that let's create a label. Label text equals image encryptor, and I'm going to use the font Canadra. This is going to be 14 dot back, and of course we have to pass in the window over here, and let's try this out. Okay, we have our image encryptor, but obviously we have to configure the size, so it's going to be geometry, and then let's make this 640 into 480, and then we can also say window dot resizable false comma false. Awesome, let's try this out, and we have our label. Cool. Now let's do a few more things. First off, let's add our button. Our button is going to be on our window. Text equals 1 is going to be for encrypting. So encrypt font. I'm going to copy paste the rest so that we don't waste time. There we go. And the other one is going to be to decrypt. Let's try this out. Now we have two buttons, and I'm going to implement what I did last time, which is the space cheat. So space equals times equals 1 for I in range times, let's just say label window text equals dot back, and obviously we need to add the space, so I'm going to add one here at the top, one after the label, and one after each button. Now this looks kind of better. Awesome. I'm also going to increase the font size to 20 because why not? Now let's create a combo box. We already saw how to create a combo box, so I'm just going to do that, and make sure you store this in a variable. So I'm going to say let's say files equals ttk dot combo box, and inside this we pass in the window, and then for now let's just have no values. Now obviously we have to say files dot back over here. Oops, it's files. There we go. And we have no values, but we will be adding a few values later on using the glob module. Let's also add some space over here, and I'm going to add 2, so we have a little bit more space, so it's a little bit more spread out. Okay, cool. Now let's take a look at what exactly this is going to do. This combo box is going to have all the encrypted files present in the directory. For example, it's going to have image.encrypted, and if I click on the decrypt button, it is going to decrypt it for me. And this is how we can select it, but it has got nothing to do with the encrypt button. The encrypt button is simply going to open a file dialog to get hold of whatever picture we want to encrypt. We've already seen how to do that before, but I'm going to implement the same thing over here. So we have def encrypt, and we have a few more functions to add. So first off, we have our file dialog. I mean, we need to get hold of the file type. I'm just going to say file type equals list, and then you have images. I'm just going to say JPG for now. You can obviously add PNG later on. We have to open the file dialog now. We've seen how to do that. If you haven't seen the previous project, please check it out. I'm going to say file dialog dot ask open file name, and the first parameter is going to be the title, open image to encrypt, comma, initiator equals dot slash, or you could also do slash pictures, whatever works out for you. And also it's going to have our file types. File types equals file type. Now let's see if this works. We already saw how to bind a button to a command. So this is going to, I'm just going to say command equals encrypt. Now let's see if we have any errors. Okay, it opens up. Awesome. We know that works. Now what we're going to do over here is we're going to use the CV2 module to read this image, and let me show you what exactly an image looks like. I know I've gone through this in the previous video, but I'm still going to do it. Let's say img equals imread file name. Let's print out img. Let's see what happens. Encrypt. Let's go to our previous project, and I'm going to use this. Now we're going to print this out, and all of these are pixels as we saw before. Now we can use this module called Pickle. Now Pickle is a module which can use your file system to encrypt files in binary or serialize your files in binary, which is what we're going to do. Obviously, normal text or normal image viewers cannot open the file if it's in a different format. So we're also going to create our own file format over here. So I'm going to say format form equals dot encrypted. You can use any file format. In fact, I can even have my name as the file format. Anything works. Let's just say secure for now. Now I have the data of the file. Now I just have to use the pickle module to dump it onto a different file. I am hoping you have a little bit of understanding of the pickle module already and how files work in Python. So to open a file, we just have to say f equals open. We're going to use the same file name, and remember how we got hold of the file name before. We're going to do the same thing here. So file name dot split, we're going to do slash, we're going to get the last element of this, and then dot split and get the first element. If you don't understand this, watch the other project that we made. You will be able to understand this. Now what we're going to do over here is we're going to create a file called form, or we're going to create the file name over here plus form. So that's going to be the file name, and we have to open it in WB, which B stands for binary, and we're going to essentially dump all of this data in binary. Now I'll show you what this looks like. We're just going to say pickle.dump. So we're going to dump img, so the object goes first and then the file, and make sure you close the file. Let's see how this looks. Encrypt, test images. Let's go to Doge. Now I have to make sure it's just dump. Okay, let's try it out. Doge. Now we don't have any errors. Let's see what it looks like. Now we have a file called .secure. What would this look like if we try to read it? It's all in hexadecimal over here. And at the same time, if I open this using my notepad, so open with, and let's try to open this using the notepad. Now keep in mind it has a lot of text, but there we go. You can see it, you know for a fact that there's a numpy array, but it has a lot of gibberish, which means you cannot read this. One more thing that you can do is remove this file or delete this file, which we will go over in the end of the video. I'm not showing this right now because it may cause a few errors. So we've done this. Now we know how to encrypt a file. Let's see how to decrypt a file. I'm going to say def decrypt pass, and we're going to bind this command to this button. Now, before we talk about how to decrypt it, let's take a look at how to import all the values that are present, or all the encrypted files that are present in the directory. Now, we already know we have a parameter called values in the combo box. What we can do is we can just say files equals, we're going to use the glob module over here to get hold of all the files that have the .secure extension. This is what the glob does. This is why we imported glob. And then we can just say if len of files is more than 0, so we can just say if we have more than 0 files, I'm going to set the value of files of values equals the number of the names of all the files that are present, and I'm going to say files.current equals 0, which means we're essentially setting the file's value to the first file that it has found. Now let's take a look at how to decrypt a file. So first off, I'm going to get hold of whatever value that's present, so that is files.get. We've already seen how to do this. Now we're going to use the pickle module to unpickle the file. So this whatever we did over here, which is dumping the human readable form into the file, this is called pickling, and we're going to do something called unpickling over here, which is basically decrypting the file. So first off, we have to open the file, so I'm going to say open val, and it's automatically going to be in RB, and this is going to be in a while loop. So this is how you unpickle a file. You say img equals load f except EOF error break. Now, the reason why I'm doing this is because Pickle raises an end of line or the end of file error whenever it reaches the end of the file, whenever the pointer reaches the end of the file. We don't want this to break a program, which is why I just say I'm running this in a while loop, and if it reaches the end of the file, do not raise the error, just break out of the loop. Now, if I print out the value of img, now we already have doge.secure, I decrypt it, and now it's printing the pixel values over here, which is kind of human readable form. At least the computer or the image viewer will be able to read this. And we actually don't need any of these. We just need read and write. Now what we're going to do here is we're just going to say write, and we have to obviously specify whatever file type we're going to save it as. So first off, I'm going to get the name of this file. To get the name of the file, we can just do what we did before, which is name equals val.split dot and get the first value. So I'm just going to say name.png. We'll save this as a PNG file, and I'm going to pass in the image. Now let's try this out. Decrypt, no errors, which is obviously a good sign. And if I open the working directory, let's open over here. Now we have the decrypted file over here. It says Doge, and if we wait for it to load, we have the picture. Now let's try this with another image. I'm going to encrypt another file. I'll go to my test images, and let's try Rickroll. Now it's done decrypting. It's done encrypting, and it's automatically updated over here because we called the getValues function. Now let's try to decrypt the same image, but I'm going to go here. We know for a fact this is encrypted because we obviously cannot read this. Now let's try to decrypt it. And it has been decrypted. Now, one more thing you can do for this program is you can make it in such a way that it removes the encrypted file or the file you want to encrypt automatically. So we can just say from OS import remove, and after we encrypt the file, I'm just going to remove that file. So I'm deleting it essentially. So let me encrypt it, and if I go to test images, I'll type encrypt Doge. If I go to my directory, I've removed Doge from here, so it's encrypted and it's safe. Now, the problem with doing this, and the reason why I didn't do this in the beginning, is that sometimes there will be some sort of a permission error. So it'll say you are not allowed or you don't have enough privileges to delete the file, which is why I did not implement this yet. If you want this to work all the time, you will probably have to open the file as an administrator. And if you're converting this into an exe file, the antivirus is probably going to think this is a malicious file, which is why we need to add some more code to make sure the antivirus trusts this program, but that's obviously out of scope. But congratulations, we've completed two programs that you can add to your resume, and these are very good programs that show your understanding with computer media. You can add a lot more functions like restore. You can just say show image, for example, and it's going to unpickle it and just show the image. For that, you'll have to use CV2's I'm show, which we went over last time. But that's pretty much it for this video. I really hope you enjoyed this series. We spoke about a lot. We learned how to use CV2, we learned how to use Pickle, Tkinter, Glob, we saw a little bit of the OS module, and we just became better programmers in Python. Let me know in the comments down below if you have any suggestions about the way I instructed, if you want me to go faster or slower or just explain better. I'll try to change the way I talk, but I really hope you learned something new. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.